On January 31st, 2013, a 21-year-old Canadian student named Elisa Lam checked into the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. She was traveling alone. She was excited. She was taking photographs and posting them to her blog. She was supposed to check out 3 days later. She never did. What happened between the moment Elisa Lam stepped into that hotel elevator and the moment her body was discovered, 2.5 weeks later, inside a water tank on the roof, is one of the most analyzed, debated, and disturbing unsolved mysteries of the last decade. And the single piece of evidence that should have provided answers, the elevator surveillance video, has only made the questions multiply. Elisa Lam was not running from anything. She was a student at the University of British Columbia, a daughter, a sister, a young woman who documented her life with curiosity and joy. In January 2013, she embarked on a solo trip along the California coast, San Diego, Los Angeles. She traveled by train and bus. She called her parents every day. Her blog, filled with photographs and observations, was the diary of someone who was fully present in her own life. There is no indication in any of her writings that she was afraid, that she was being followed, or that she was planning to harm herself. But Elisa Lam was also managing a condition that was not visible in her photographs. She had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. She was prescribed medication that her family later confirmed she may not have been taking consistently during her trip. This is not speculation about what happened to her, it is context. Because when you watch the elevator video, and millions of people have now watched that video, what you are seeing may be a young woman experiencing a mental health crisis, or it may be something else entirely. The Cecil Hotel, where Elisa checked in on January 31st, has a history that reads like a dark fable. Built in the 1920s, it was once a destination for the wealthy. By the time Elisa Lam walked through its doors, it was surrounded by Skid Row. The neighborhood was one of the most dangerous in America. Inside the hotel, long-term residents mixed with tourists. Some were registered sex offenders. The building had been the site of multiple suicides, at least one unsolved murder, and years later, it would become infamous as the temporary home of serial killer Richard Ramirez. Elisa was initially assigned a shared room. After complaints from her roommates about what they described as strange behavior, she was moved to a private room on the 4th floor. She was last seen alive on January 31st. The elevator video is 4 minutes long. It was recorded at approximately 2 a.m. on February 1st, and there is nothing in any true crime case anywhere quite like it. Elisa enters the elevator. She is wearing a red zip-up hoodie, black shorts, and sandals. She presses a row of buttons, multiple floors. The doors do not close. She steps to the back of the elevator, into the corner. She waits. The doors remain open. Then she steps out, peers down the hallway, to the left, to the right. She returns to the elevator, presses more buttons. She steps out again. This time she stands just outside the elevator facing the hallway. Her arms move, not frantically, but deliberately. She appears to be counting on her fingers. She gestures as if she is having a conversation with someone the camera cannot see. She steps back into the elevator, presses more buttons. The doors still do not close. Then, something changes. She exits the elevator and moves to the left, out of frame. The empty elevator sits there for 30 seconds. The doors finally close. The elevator operates normally. It descends to another floor. Elisa Lam is never seen alive again. Here is the problem that has haunted investigators and internet sleuths for over a decade. The elevator door was not malfunctioning. When tested afterward, it functioned perfectly. The hold open button had not been pressed. There is no evidence that anyone was holding the door from the outside. And yet, The door stayed open for over 2 minutes while Elisa was inside, and it closed the moment she was gone. On February 19, 2013, 19 days after Elisa Lam disappeared, guests at the Cecil Hotel began complaining about the water. Low pressure, a strange taste, a dark color. A maintenance worker climbed to the rooftop to inspect the 4 large water tanks that supplied the entire building. When he opened the hatch on one of them, he found Elisa Lam's body. She was naked. Her clothing, the red hoodie, the shorts, the sandals, was floating in the water near her. The tank was 8 feet tall, filled nearly to the top. The lid was heavy enough that investigators noted it would have been nearly impossible for one person to close from inside. To reach the rooftop, Elisa would have needed to bypass a locked door with an alarm system. Or she would have needed to access the roof through a fire escape, a route that was not publicly known but was accessible to hotel residents who knew where to look. The autopsy ruled her death an accidental drowning. The coroner noted that her bipolar disorder was a significant contributing factor. No drugs were found in her system beyond trace amounts of her prescription medication. No signs of physical trauma. No evidence of foul play. The Los Angeles Police Department closed the case. And that is where the official story ends. But it is not where the questions end. Why is this case unsolvable? Not because there are no answers, but because every possible answer collapses under scrutiny. If this was a psychotic episode, if Elisa climbed to the roof in a state of mania, removed her clothing, and entered the tank voluntarily, then how did she close the heavy metal lid behind her? The autopsy found no injuries consistent with climbing into a tank that was nearly full. The fire escape to the roof was not marked. A person in the grip of psychosis does not navigate unmarked routes to rooftops. If someone else was involved, if she was chased or lured or forced, then who else was on the roof that night? The elevator video shows no one else in the hallway. No other camera captured anyone following her. The rooftop alarm was never triggered. The locked door showed no signs of forced entry. If she encountered someone inside the hotel, a resident, a staff member, a stranger, then why has no one come forward in over a decade? The Cecil Hotel was occupied. People lived there. Someone, somewhere, knows something or saw something that has never been told. The elevator video is the case's central piece of evidence. It has been watched hundreds of millions of times, frame by frame, enhanced, analyzed by behavioral experts, body language specialists, neurologists, and still no consensus. Was she hiding from someone? Playing a game? Experiencing a dissociative episode? The footage shows all of these and none of them at the same time. It is a Rorschach test made of security camera pixels. And the Cecil Hotel, which has since been renamed, rebranded, and partially converted into affordable housing, has never been able to wash the stain of this case from its walls. The official file on Elisa Lam is closed. Accidental drowning. Case number 2-013-02-04929. Filed away in a drawer at LAPD headquarters. But the file on the internet, the file maintained by millions of people who have watched that elevator footage and felt something they couldn't explain, that file will never close. What happened in the Cecil Hotel between the hours of 2 a.m. and the moment a 21-year-old woman entered a water tank she should never have been able to reach, no one can say with certainty. The evidence points in too many directions. The footage defies any single interpretation. The hotel keeps its secrets. And Elisa Lam, a young traveler with a camera and a blog and a family that called her every day, remains at the center of a mystery that has outlasted every attempt to solve it. Some cases end with justice, some end with answers, and some Some end with a grainy elevator video 4 minutes long that millions of people have watched, searching for something no one has ever been able to find.